Good morning, and welcome to Love Remembers, where we dig through the chaos, sort through the nonsense, and remind people that history has a habit of repeating itself, especially when incompetence is involved. Because what's worse than secret backroom discussions about military action than accidentally inviting a reporter to listen in? Let's break this down, folks. Congressman Mike Waltz and top officials from the Trump administration were on a signal call discussing potential strikes against the Houthis in Yemen. You know, the military action, serious stuff, the kind of conversations you'd assume are happening in secure rooms with top level security measures in place. But instead, here they are, chatting away on an encrypted app like they're planning a surprise birthday party. And then, because apparently life is just one long episode of a political sitcom, Mike Waltz accidentally adds a reporter from the Atlantic to the call. That's right, a reporter. You know, the people whose literal job is to report things, like a bank robber seeing the police on an email about a getaway route. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer level of recklessness here. These are the same people who love to beat their chests about national security and protecting America, and yet they're handling military discussions with the same level of care as a group chat about where to get brunch. And let's not forget, folks, this isn't just any conversation. This is about strike against the Houthis, a move that could have serious geopolitical consequences. War isn't a game of telephone where you just oops your way into a new conflict. But these guys, they treat it like a casual strategy session on a messaging app, where apparently they can't even manage to check the invite list before diving into the war talk. And what do we get in response? Silence. No real accountability, just another whoops, another let's move on, and another reminder that people making life or death decisions don't always have the competence to handle a group call. This isn't just embarrassing, it's dangerous. And the next time these same people talk about how serious they are about national security, just remember when it really mattered. They couldn't even track of who was on the line. So stick around, because if this is the kind of madness happening by accident, imagine what's happening on purpose. Today, we have two great guests to join us to unravel this stuff. For Grant Stern, the chief editor of Occupy Democrats, and Brian Krasenstein from the Krasenstein Brothers. How are you guys? And I know I'm being funny. I'm trying to make light of it. I'm talking, but this is, this is some serious, serious stuff here. So, let's just dive into it. Why don't you go first, Brian? Tell us your take. You've had 24 hours to digest of what happened. Give us your take on it.
Yeah, so I saw the Atlantic article yesterday morning when I woke up, slightly after I woke up, and I was like, "Wait, is this real?" I took a double take. I saw somebody tweet about it, and then I went to the article, and I'm like, "Wow!" This is basically what Republicans attacked Hillary for 3 years, only 10 or 20 times worse, maybe more than that, and
Infinitely
now they're
worse.
remaining silent. Right? It's crazy.
What you were saying, Grant? It's beyond.
It's infinitely worse than anything Hillary Clinton ever did in her entire life, let alone having a private email server. But I just want to read you a tweet from July 29th of 2016. Okay. Hillary Clinton should not be given national security briefings in that she is a loose cannon with extraordinarily bad judgment and instincts. That was Donald Trump.
Well, it gets even worse because as we're doing this right now, there's currently hearings in the Senate right now, and you got Tulsi Gabbard up there, and I think it was Mark Warner. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he started questioning her, and the first line of questioning was, "Whoa, here we go." I mean, basically, she's sat there and said that there was nothing confidential or top secret on this call. So he just turned around and said, "Well, then give us the chat." She refused to do that. Then they also.
What I saw was, like at first Warner keeps pushing her, like, were you in these chats? And she refused 3 times to say whether or not she was in them. And then he said, were they classified? And at first she refused to say. She refused to state whether they were classified or not. Then it was a second line of questioning when Warner returned to her, where she started saying they were not classified. They were not classified. And yeah, like you said, then he's like, okay, then release them. Release them right here. Like, why aren't you releasing them?
And then right away he turned over to Kash Patel and he said, and by the way, is there any FBI investigation to any of this? He turns around and says, well, not really. I mean, I just got this in the morning, so I'm still looking into it.
You know that he asked for comment, right? I mean, that that Jeffrey Goldstein asked for comment on the texts, and the White House confirmed it. But when they asked the White House for comment, at that point, the government was kind of notified, but not Cash. I mean, he's busy in Las Vegas. I mean, whoever heard of a FBI director being like, I'm moving to Vegas, baby, or I'm going to live in Vegas? I mean, it's just...
What really burned me was that they're attacking the reporter nonstop.
It's all his fault.
And it's like, what, for just reporting that these texts were leaked? Nothing he said was inaccurate. He just reported that the texts were leaked.
Not even text leak. They invite him on the call. They're the ones that dragged him into the call. It's
they leaked it to him.
On the call. They leaked it to him. And then they're pissed at him because he's reporting it. I like the way Hasek, when he got off the plane, the first thing he said was there was no war plans on there. I mean, hello, the White House already confirmed that this did happen already. Like,
it shows you they're not just denial. Okay, let me pair this with another story that I read today in Vanity Fair by Noah Shachtman. He's the former editor of the Daily Beast and the Rolling Stone. He turned the Rolling Stone around, by the way, because they were in dire straits before he arrived. And Noah's reporting from Vanity Fair that the New York FBI field office is virtually shut down to try and look for redact and deal with the Jeffrey Epstein files right now.
I heard that. It's crazy.
Okay. And it's like, I've been telling Lev about this a lot, which is that I'm getting these major George W. Bush first term vibes from what we're seeing here. Okay. But it was different because they had talented and knowledgeable people who are blinded by the ideology. Whereas Trump brings in blindingly stupid people and then blinds them a second time with ideology, which is especially scary, right? That's where we get gay barbers deported because they have tattoos. I mean, without due process to a terror prison, But this is like, what is the FBI doing if they're just sitting around and reviewing files on a political mission like this? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that, and combine that with the Tesla stuff, right? They're investigating people that are keying Teslas. I mean, some of that stuff
domestic
is bad.
Big crime.
Not people, domestic terrorists.
Exactly.
Oh, the domestic key terrorists. Gotcha.
If you keychain, you can't make this up, folks. I mean, I'm telling you, this is like, and we're only 60 days in. I mean, but let's get back to the call itself. I mean, let's first understand what transpired. So you had 18
let's get the
people.
Receipts.
Right. Thank you, Grant. He had 18
sent out to everybody.
I mean, you've had 18 people, the top brass, the top loyalty group of Trump's inner circle, including his chief of staff, including, you had the CIA director Ratcliffe on there. You had the Middle East envoy Witkoff was on there. I mean, you had Stephen Miller was on there. I mean, you had the combination of the who's who of Trump's loyal inner circle literally enjoying themselves, having a good time. It's like watching a football game, talking about an attack on the Houthis and, sending each other high fives and fist bumps and all of that, sending each other national. I mean, Pete, you could tell by his, face, he was so pissed off because he's caught red-handed. It's in the, the guy has the stuff, and they know if they keep pushing him, he's going to start releasing the actual plans, because if they keep calling him a liar, especially, he sent over actual timing, because I saw the interview. Not only, he sent over actual, the reporter he literally sat in the car, waited for the timing, and then looked to see if there was actually bombs, and just like the text message said, the bombs started going off. This is some crazy ass shit. This is, even this goes beyond the crazy shit we did back in 2018-19 with the BLT team. This reminds me when we started using Signal for the first time, the encrypted, man. We used to use WhatsApp, I remember. And then WhatsApp app. And then somebody I remember at the Trump Hotel came to me, and Rudy said, it was one of the CIA guys, said, no more WhatsApp. You guys should switch over to Signal. And just think about it. Who were we hiding from? Who are these guys hiding? Who were we hiding from? The FBI. We were hiding from. And the other interesting part is that at these hearings, I think Ratcliffe, I caught just a little bit before we went on. He was questioned as he was questioned. He said that they used proper protocol, and one of the things in the proper protocol is to make sure that whatever was on the text messages was recorded, which is weird. Which is weird because we know that Michael Waltz had his to be erased and others, and they were conversating about it. So I mean, this is like, I mean, what's with that? I mean,
they just copped. They just copped to so much more than a war plan. I mean, they just copped to basically deleting the work product of the entire government and running it all through Signal. This is, I mean, astronomically stupid. Doesn't even touch the tip of the iceberg with this, you know?
Did you see the reporting that Steve Witkoff was actually in Moscow near the Kremlin when he was added to this group chat? And it's known that,
trying to find out, is that true? I was trying to verify and make sure, because
I've seen two reports stated that, and it's known that Russia has in the past hacked Signal and hacked Signal messages. So like the national security implications of this is just,
I'm glad you said that.
To understand.
I'm glad you said that, because it's important, because I spoke to several. Well, you can't hack Signal, because I went through it myself with the FBI.
You hack the phone.
You have to hack the phone. You have to hack the person. So if he was in actual Russia, I mean,
then they could have easily gotten access, because
of course,
physical access is the best.
Just think about what I mean. The tactics they use. I mean, these guys are some bumbling fools. Witkoff has no. I mean, he's a real estate developer. He's going to be sitting there in the lobby with his phone.
Actually,
there's going to be cameras zooming in on everything he's doing, on every chat, on every password code. And
hey,
I mean,
Lev, listen. Yeah. People don't understand Steve Witkoff, okay? He's a big-time real estate developer. He bought a whole block of Miami Beach from Lev Blavatnik, right? I mean, he's a really, really, really big real estate developer. I don't know what he knows about the entire Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, or anything else, but I know that he knows about real estate development.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm saying to you. But he was on this call. I mean, this wasn't not
what
like
is he doing on that call when his supposed job is envoy to the Russia-Ukraine peace talks?
I mean, technically he's a national security advisor, but like, this doesn't seem like it's got kind of his field to be advising on.
Maybe they're looking to talk about how to deconstruct the buildings. I mean, maybe they needed some tips on local zoning that the Houthis have.
But you gotta also understand this. You gotta look deeper into it. As someone that's been a part of actual setting up these calls, and how all those people didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, hey, let's just get on a Signal chat. This was coordinated. No, this was put together. And trust me, I tell you, Mike Waltz did not put this whole thing together, especially with Susie Wiles being on that call. He might have been the guy that generated, this, but there was lots of conversations about putting this together and getting this, group of. I mean, it's his top brass. Who was missing? The better question is not who was on there, but who wasn't on there.
You know what? People forget because the media doesn't do its job, but people forget that Republicans invented the deletion of digital documents to cover up all sorts of terrible things. Let's start with Iran-Contra, the first time that emails were actually deleted. Do you remember that? Yeah. I mean, then Bush 1, they deleted everything. They used Republican National Committee servers to avoid making public records. I mean, they broke every law aimed at document retention. I mean, I think what it says is that these laws about document retention are just not modern enough. Like, they really need to have teeth. And I mean, listen, man, we've all seen what's happened over the last decade. I'm a firm believer in having a fourth branch of government that's co-equal, which is an inspector general, like a group of inspector generals that are elected and can't be fired or something like that. I don't know, because
with this group, they're gonna put
the honor system doesn't work with thieves.
Well, let's go back to like the insecure Hillary's email server, right? Like, how many people in the Trump administration right now are using, private email servers, not using a government email server. Like probably half of them. Like Trump's
absolutely.
family had been doing that for the last administration. There's several people. Elon Musk is using a private email server. Like everybody in government now appear to be using private email servers, kind of like what Hillary did, and they investigated her for 3 years. So like things have shifted drastically, and that's only because Republicans are now in office, and it doesn't matter when Republicans are in office.
But the crazy part, they're not even investigating it. They're pretending nothing happened. I mean, like if you
they're
take a
using
look,
private email servers to like communicate about how to go about defending themselves against this story.
And they're basically just saying, listen, it's no big deal. We had a chat. It was on. It's not going to happen again. They've learned from their mistake. I mean, just think about the craziness. You had Mike Johnson, and then you had Trump, I think, today come out and say basically they've learned not to do this again. Mike Waltz he's learned his lesson. He's like, fucking kidding me? One of the questions that I think Warner asked Gabbard before I switched off again was very interesting. He and she just sat there like Stonewall, couldn't even open her mouth. He said, "Let me ask you this question: if this was just a senior officer that did this, and you caught this officer, what would you do?"
David Petraeus. Look at David Petraeus.
Would you? And she just sat there. She didn't say a word. Yeah. Yeah,
those two, just David Petraeus. He lost everything, had to plead guilty. I mean,
are you kidding me? If this was a step,
these guys are they're higher than his old.
If Mike Waltz did not do this himself, and there was a staff member that added him on, they'd be already thrown under the bus. This person would have been destroyed already. And they're just confused. But my sources are telling me that Waltz is out the door. That this is just.
He's going to fall on his sword.
Yeah. That this is just pandering because Trump doesn't want to give them any win, and he's not. That's why they're going to try to sweep it under the rug, and then you're going to see Waltz go very shortly.
Yeah, reporting. I think it was. I don't know if it was the New York Times or Politico reported that several people in the administration basically say that Mike Waltz is like incredibly stupid, and that they've already turned on him. So I've heard the same thing from that reporting. We'll see.
Well, I mean, think about it. Trump's first national security advisor, he's kind of like a knockdown, right? Like that's how it works, isn't it?
I mean,
yeah, like how many secretaries of states did he go through in the last administration in the first year, right?
The first year, because I'll give it people. Because the first year I'll give it to you because he was trying to the first year put together, even though what they call now rhinos, but he was trying to get the Republicans into off. I mean, he was trying to work with them. The problem is that he had his agenda, they had their agenda, and it just wouldn't work. They want to teach him how to be presidential. They used to say he's going to be more presidential. Like once he's in office, he's going to be more presidential. Like he never became more presidential.
But nobody ever thought that this time around. They just thought he'd be more vengeful.
No, the first time, no, this time
vengeance on.
I think it's going just as they thought. I think it's going exactly how we thought it would go this time around.
It's going according to their plan. And we all said their plan was their plan, but the mainstream media, the corporate media decided to buy the lies. Oh, yeah. Hey, they wrote this 900-page plan with 140 right-wing action groups. And it's the same group that did 2/3 of Ronald Reagan's agenda in the 1980s. And I mean, they're just throwing all that away. Donald Trump's going to wing it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, the only people dumber than Donald Trump's national security advisors have to be the editors at these corporate media outlets that bought this nonsense from Trump.
You know what? As crazy as it seems, as funny as it is, but as sad and as serious as it is, think about this is what we've seen. This is what we have covered. So by accident, just think about some of these now encrypted chat conversation these guys are having behind the scenes on Canada, on Greenland, on Russia and Ukraine.
You know that Usha Vance is visiting Greenland?
That's, I mean, yeah.
But it's funny.
Isn't Waltz also supposed to be going there, I think?
You know, I think they're going to
I don't know.
send him there, but only on a one-way ticket.
Right. Maybe that's good. He can make him.
That's the answer.
Maybe
They're
he'll
going to
become
make him their envoy,
the
the
governor.
envoy to
He'll be the
Greenland.
governor of Greenland.
Yeah,
Is
they're
Greenland
going to make him the
is they be a
envoy.
52nd state, or since Canada's the 51st? Does that
And
make
what they're
it?
going to do is they're going to make him the envoy to northern Greenland.
Oh,
See, I think that's a good idea.
It's such a good point, though. Like if this is what we've seen, and this was bad, like what are we not seeing? What are they actually hiding from us? What are they being super careful?
I think
not
we've been
sharing with the
seeing
reporter?
too much not seeing lately, actually.
Yeah.
But I feel your point. It's bad. Whatever they're not telling people is much, much worse.
Yeah.
I mean, much worse, especially how, they're very open about not seeing and all.
Well, the worst thing is
True.
there's going to be no accountability, and that sucks because especially for people that have paid their dues, have taken accountability for their mistakes, watching this whole thing play out where there's like zero accountability. I mean, like it's all transactional. If I could help you out, you can help me out. Okay, let's forget about, it doesn't matter what you did or how you did it. I mean, it's just incredible to watch. I mean,
I was going to say, how do you guys think that the reporter was actually included? Like, do you think that somebody was just haphazardly adding people? Because like they had to have gotten together and created this group. So how did the Atlantic reporter get added? What are your theories?
So it's not even a theory. I have actually one of my sources telling me. I mean, I try to back this up to confirm it but what I'm
one
hearing,
source. So it's one source. It's not
one source. What I'm inside the chart, what I'm hearing is it has to do with this whole why Waltz is going to be out the door, because Waltz was having off the record conversations with him, and that's why he was part of his chat. And he was giving him certain stuff. That's why Goldberg wouldn't admit it either. And I think he was asked on one of the channels, like, were you having any conversations with them? Was it? So supposedly he was feeding him certain information off the record, and like combined with the other, report we're getting that he's not that bright. I remember, it's like Rudy. I remember Rudy used to do this all the time. He would delete people from chats and text messages, butt dial people. I mean,
DYAC, right?
Right. So I could see it happening. I could see it. He had him there in one of his chats. He's looking there. He doesn't know how. He's like just added. Because it was JC, or it wasn't even the full name. But the craziness that none of these people had anybody overseeing like any of their aides. What they were talking about adding their aides to the chat or whatever, or people to the chat, but nobody was like watching to make sure security, like that there's nobody on that chat, that the people they're supposed to be. It's mind-boggling. It was just so lackadaisical. It reminds me of like how we were doing. I mean, back in the day, we did the same exact way. I mean, it was like, I remember when we got signal, we were sitting at the Trump Hotel at the BLT restaurant upstairs, and we would sat there with our phones downloading the app, and none of us knew how to do it. Joe DeGeneva, Victoria Tunzi, me, Rudy, we were all getting on this new Signal app that it was supposed to keep us away from the FBI, the deep state. They were not going to be able to track what we were doing in Ukraine. So watching this play out right now just brings me that PTSD. I could see it happening where it's because these are people, or most of them are bumbling fools. Like, they're not the professionals. Just because they have the title doesn't mean that they are that they could yes, they have a big title, but you know what I'm saying.
We've all texted the wrong person before. It's just that we're not dealing with war plans and top secret information, right?
I'd like to say one more thing before I have to drop off, because it is spring break. For parents too, as Lev is well aware.
I have a full house full.
But one of the most fascinating things is how JD Vance used this group chat with literally everybody important in Trump world to point out how Donald Trump was wrong about doing this and why. Okay. And saying that Donald Trump probably didn't even understand what he was doing was wrong.
I mean, We're going to talk
Okay?
about that. This is just the beginning of the
Look,
fall of things. I mean, the way they spoke about Europe, the Saudi
like,
air.
I
I
mean,
mean,
how can Donald Trump ever trust this guy in the room again? How could he trust him after the Ukraine incident? But now, like, if it wasn't clear then, it should be really clear now. When I went on Newsmax the night
man,
after
he
the
doesn't trust
Ukraine
him.
thing,
Go ahead, brother.
I told them this was like Santino stepping out of line in The Godfather. And we
I
all
like that.
saw that was a very bad outcome for The Godfather. And here's Santino blowing his mouth off again.
Yeah, well, I mean, you heard Trump's response about if JD was going to be the heir apparent to him very quickly on Fox. Oh no, that's not gonna. I mean, that shows you, Plus, Trump might forgive, but he doesn't forget. So I mean, and so JD was again a transactional a vice president. Because he brought with him the deal, the Musk, and all of that money and power that came.
The
That came along with
oligarchy.
the
Yes.
oligarchy, as we call
He's
it.
the
Right. That was the marriage, that Trump made, just like he made another marriage with, Kennedy and the liberals to bring that. I mean, Trump basically built a coalition between a very interesting group of people, but there's no loyalty to none of them or to each other. They'll be the first ones to go. Believe me, something happens with the measles or outbreak. Believe me, Kennedy will be thrown under the bus quicker than you could say. He'll be like, I gave him a shot. He did it, whatever. Let's move on. But I will give it to him that now that he's Trump 2.0 is a lot more loyal. I mean, loyal. I don't know if that's the
it's
word
all
you want to
relative,
call
I
it.
guess.
Relative. He's a lot more, consistently taking care of his crew of people. Not like he did in the first time around. Because if you really think about it, the first time around, he relied on the Bill Barrs. He relied on people doing it, and those same people were crooked in their own ways. They didn't align with his, so you had their crook out, whatever shit they were doing. You had Trump, whatever he was doing, and then you had the truth. And you had all of this bumbling going on against each other. Now he has all his loyalists in, so it's like more of a, you know what, can't hurt me. So anyway, I listen, I appreciate you guys, both of you coming on. I know it's a spring break, kids, lots of things to do.
That was
Plus, there's
last
a
week
lot.
for us. I don't know.
Oh, it was last week for you, really?
Yeah, it must
Oh,
be different on different coasts of Florida, right?
Yeah, that's weird. Catch up, man. But anyway, I want to
meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Sebring it is.
I want to thank all of you for coming out, watching Love Remembers. If you enjoyed the show and if you like the deep dives, the rants, the hard truths with a little side of humor, then I need your support. The best way to keep this going is by subscribing and following me on Substack and YouTube. On Substack, you'll get more analysis, more stories, and more of the history they'd rather forget. And on YouTube, you'll get every episode, every breakdown, and every moment they don't want you to see. So if you believe in my work and if you want to continue to keep this conversation alive, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, head over to Substack and spread the word, because remembering isn't enough. We have to keep it telling the story. And I'll see you next time. And please follow my great guests, Grant Stern and Brian Krasestein. Thank you guys for coming. Have a great day. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
Thanks, Lev. See you soon. Bye.